My interview with the star athlete ended when she whispered my bet now. The fluorescent lights of the university press room buzzed like angry hornets overhead, but all I could hear was the thunder of my own pulse as Riley Kane locked eyes with me across the crowded table. Sweat beaded on her forehead, not from the post-game high, but from the lie she was about to swallow whole. "Yeah, coach," she drawled in that lazy Texas twang that made every girl in the stands weak. "I'm all about the team. No distractions." The reporter scribbled furiously, but I saw it. The flicker in her storm blue eyes, the way her knee brushed mine under the table, deliberate, electric. Our secret had been unraveling for weeks. Ever since that rain-soaked night in the bleachers where her victory kiss tasted like salt and stolen promises. Now, with the championship ring still warm on her finger, the world waited for her Golden Girls speech. But I knew the truth. Riley wasn't running from glory. She was sprinting straight into the fire of us, and one wrong word could burn it all down. I shifted in my creaky metal chair, the cheap fabric of my skirt sticking to my thighs in the stuffy air. The room smelled like stale coffee and printer ink, mixed with the faint, lingering trace of Riley's cedarwood body spray that clung to my skin from last night's hurried goodbye. My notebook lay open on the scarred Formica table, pen hovering like a loaded gun. As the junior sports writer for the campus rag, I'd clawed my way into this post-game scrum, elbowing out the big league hacks who treated Riley like a trophy instead of the flesh and blood woman who made my chest ache with every stolen glance. 28 years old, fresh out of a soul-crushing breakup with a guy who never saw me, and here I was interviewing the 25-year-old phenom who just shattered the women's 400-meter record again. Riley Kane, the pride of Austin, Texas, transplanted to this rainy Pacific Northwest campus on a full ride. Her legs like coiled springs, her smile a weapon that disarmed defenses and broke hearts. The moderator droned on, fielding questions about sponsorships and training regimens, but my mind replayed the moment we'd crossed the line. It was 3 weeks ago, after her qualifier heat, the track still slick with evening mist. I'd cornered her in the tunnel for a quick quote, my recorder trembling in my hand. "What's your edge out there, Riley? What keeps you pushing when everyone else quits?" She'd wiped her face with the hem of her jersey, revealing the taut plane of her abs, glistening under the harsh lights. Then, leaning in so close I could smell the lime from her Gatorade on her breath, she'd whispered, "You. Interviews like this, they make it real." Her fingers had grazed my wrist, sending a jolt up my arm, and just like that, the professional wall crumbled. We'd tumbled into her dorm that night, all fumbling hands and breathless laughs, her body pressing me into the mattress with the same relentless drive she brought to the starting blocks. Now, as the questions turned personal, "Riley, rumors about your love life? Anyone special?" cheering from the stands. A hush fell, broken only by the distant roar of the emptying stadium outside. Her jaw tightened, that square, determined line I traced with my thumb in the dark. I held my breath, the air thick with unspoken dread. If she dodged, we'd survive another day in the shadows. If she cracked, God, the headlines would crucify her. Golden Girl gone rogue. Scholarship yanked. Texas family disowning their track star daughter for loving a woman in a state where family values still meant picket fences and prayers. Riley's gaze flicked to me, a storm brewing in those depths, and she leaned into the mic with a slow, predatory grin that made my stomach flip. "Love life? Nah, fellas. I'm married to the grind." Laughter rippled through the room, easy as a summer breeze, but under the table her boot nudged mine, insistent, a Morse code of frustration. "Not enough," it said. "I want more." The interview wrapped with handshakes and flashbulbs, reporters scattering like leaves in the wind, but Riley lingered, signing my notepad with a flourish that lingered too long on the Y in my name, Harper Ellis. I gathered my things, heart hammering, the weight of my satchel pulling at my shoulder like an anchor. The press room emptied into the echoing hallway, linoleum floors squeaking under sensible heels and scuffed sneakers. Rain pattered against the tall windows, a Seattle symphony that matched the knot in my gut. We'd planned to meet later, neutral ground, a dive bar off campus where no one asked questions, but as I turned the corner toward the exit, her voice cut through the din like a starter's pistol. "Harper. Wait." I froze, the chill from the drafty corridor seeping through my thin blouse. Turning, I saw her striding toward me, track jacket zipped halfway, revealing the curve of her collarbone I'd memorized in the moonlight of her single. Up close, she was a force, 5 feet 10 inches of lean muscle, freckles dusting her nose like stars, that blonde pixie cut still tousled from the wind. American through and through, born in the heart of barbecue and big skies, but softened by the gray drizzle of the Northwest. "We need to talk," she said, voice low, edged with gravel from the post-race hoarseness. "Here." I glanced around, the hallway emptying fast, but echoes carried. A janitor pushed a mop bucket nearby, the slosh of water a warning. She grabbed my elbow, steering me into a shadowed alcove by the vending machines, the hum of the cooler masking our words. Her touch burned through my sleeve, callous fingers from gripping batons and hurdles. That question back there. It gutted me. She exhaled sharply, breath warm against my ear, carrying the faint mint of her gum. "Pretending you're just some reporter? It's killing me, Harp. Every damn time I see you, it's like starting a race blindfolded." My throat tightened, words sticking like humidity in July. I'd felt it too, the lie growing thorns in our stolen moments. Coffee runs that stretched into dawn, her hand on my thigh under diner booths, the way she'd hum old Willie Nelson tunes while I edited her quotes late into the night. But I was the cautious one, the city girl from Chicago who'd learned early that love like ours came with scarlet letters. "Riley, your career." "Screw the career." Her voice cracked, raw as the scrape of her spikes on the track. She cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheekbones, eyes searching mine with a desperation that mirrored my own. The alcove smelled of stale chips and metal, but all I registered was her sweat-damp skin, the subtle floral of her shampoo cutting through the bleach. Then, in a move that stopped my heart, she leaned in, lips brushing my ear, her whisper a velvet blade. "My bed. Now." The words hung between us, heavy as the rain outside, a gauntlet thrown down in the dim light. My knees weakened, a rush of heat flooding my veins, but fear clawed back. Cameras everywhere, eyes in every shadow. Yet her gaze held no retreat, only the fierce promise of a woman who'd outrun her demons and was ready to claim her prize. Me. I nodded once, the world narrowing to the pull of her hand in mine as we slipped out a side door into the downpour, the conflict we'd buried now a live wire sparking between us. Little did I know that whisper was just the starting gun for the race that would test every boundary we'd ever known. The rain hammered the pavement like 1,000 tiny accusations as Riley and I dashed across the deserted parking lot, her laughter bubbling up wild and free, cutting through the storm. Water soaked my hair, plastering it to my neck in cold rivulets that traced down my spine, but her grip on my hand was fire, unyielding, alive. We ducked under the overhang of the athlete's dorm, a squat brick building that loomed like a sentinel in the sodium glow of street lamps. Panting, we pressed against the wall, chests heaving, the space between us charged with the scent of wet asphalt in her exertion-soaked jersey. "Inside," she murmured, keycard already swiping the door with a beep that echoed like a heartbeat. The lobby was mercifully empty, fluorescent strips casting long shadows on the tiled floor, the distant thud of a bass from some upper-floor party vibrating through the walls. We took the stairs 2 at a time, her long strides eating the distance, my shorter one scrambling to keep up, heart lodged in my throat. 3rd floor, she fumbled the key in the lock. Room 312, her sanctuary of track spikes lined by the door and posters of Olympic dreams curling at the edges. The door clicked shut behind us, sealing out the world, and suddenly it was just us in the dim spill of her desk lamp, the air thick with the musk of unwashed laundry and vanilla candle wax from last week's study session. Riley turned, backing me against the door with her body, all heat and intent, her hands framing my face as rain dripped from her lashes onto my lips. "I've wanted this all day," she breathed, voice husky, the words vibrating against my skin as her mouth claimed mine. Fierce, demanding, tasting of victory and salt. I melted into her, fingers tangling in the damp spikes of her hair, pulling her closer until there was no air, no space, just the slide of her tongue coaxing mine in a dance as old as longing. A soft moan escaped me, swallowed by her, and she grinned against my lips, that cocky athlete's smirk that always undid me. God, Harper, the way you look at me during those interviews. Like I'm the only one in the room. Her hands roamed, unzipping my jacket with practiced ease, palms sliding under my blouse to trace the curve of my waist, calluses rough against my softness, igniting sparks that pooled low in my belly. We stumbled toward the bed. A narrow twin piled with rumpled sheets that still held the imprint of her restless nights. She tugged me down, our bodies aligning in a tangle of limbs, her thigh pressing between mine with deliberate pressure that drew a gasp from my throat. The room filled with our sounds, wet kisses, the rustle of fabric hitting the floor, her low growl when I nipped her earlobe. Outside, thunder rumbled, a dramatic underscore to the storm building between us, rain lashing the window like applause. But even as pleasure crested, doubt whispered at the edges. Her scholarship hung by threads of propriety, her coach a Bible-thumping relic who preached clean living from the pulpit of the sidelines. My editor, that chain-smoking cynic, would skin me alive if word got out I was sleeping with my subject. Yet here in the cocoon of her dorm, with her fingers mapping my skin like a victory lap, it felt inevitable. Right. Her breath hitched as I arched under her touch, nails digging into her shoulders, the scent of her arousal mingling with the earthy petrichor seeping through the cracked window. Tell me you feel it too, she panted, hovering above me, eyes dark with vulnerability, her body a taut bowstring ready to snap. Sweat beaded on her upper lip, and I licked it away, savoring the salt. Every damn second, I confessed, voice breaking on the truth. Our rhythm built, urgent and unhurried all at once, her whispers turning to pleas. Harper, yes, like that. Until release crashed over us in waves, leaving us limp and laughing, tangled in sheets that smelled of us. We lay there after, her head on my chest, the steady thump of my heart her lullaby. The rain softened to a patter, and she traced lazy circles on my stomach, her touch feather-light. What if we didn't hide anymore? The question hung, soft as the steam rising from our cooling skin. My fingers stilled in her hair, the weight of it pressing down like the championship trophy on her shelf. Your folks. The team. She sighed, a deep, resonant sound that vibrated through me, her body tensing. Dad called last night. Said if I don't bring home a ring and a ring, you know, the other kind, he's done. The hurt in her voice was a knife twist, sharp and unexpected. Texas roots ran deep, barbecue Sundays laced with sermons on sin and salvation. I pulled her closer, inhaling the clean soap of her neck. We'll figure it. We always do. But the lie tasted bitter, even as her lips found mine again, softer this time, sealing the pact. Morning light crept in hours later, gray and forgiving, filtering through blinds to paint stripes on her bare back. I woke to the aroma of instant coffee brewing on her hot plate, the gurgle of the machine a gentle alarm. Riley stood by the window, towel around her hips, staring out at the mist-shrouded campus, her silhouette etched in silver. Practice in 30, she said without turning, but her voice held that post-dawn huskiness I loved. I slipped from the bed, patting over in her oversized track tee, wrapping arms around her waist from behind. Her skin was cool from the draft, but she leaned back into me, head tipping to expose her neck for my kiss. Last night, it wasn't just the high, was it? She turned, cupping my face, eyes clear and fierce in the dawn. It's you, Harp. Always has been. The kiss that followed was slow, exploratory, tasting of coffee grounds and promise, her hands sliding under the shirt to pull me flush. We dressed in companionable silence, broken by the zip of her duffel and the clink of my keys. At the door she paused, hand on the knob, rain fresh air wafting in. Tonight? My place. No interviews. Just us. I nodded, throat tight, the hallway light harsh as reality. Deal. But as she jogged down the stairs, spikes echoing, I wondered how long we could outrun the truth chasing us. The week blurred into a frenzy of deadlines and double lives. Each day a tightrope walk between the newsroom's fluorescent glare and Riley's shadowed dorm. My desk at the student paper was a war zone of crumpled drafts and empty Red Bull cans, the air thick with the tang of microwaved ramen from the break room. Editorials piled up, mine included, dissecting Riley's record-shattering sprint with clinical detachment that made my stomach churn. Kane's form is poetry in motion, I typed. Deleting your body under mine is the only rhythm I crave a dozen times before hitting save. By Thursday, the strain showed in the mirror, dark circles under my eyes like bruises, hair frizzing in the relentless drizzle that turned Seattle's sidewalks to mirrors of regret. Riley texted between heats, "Miss your voice. Track sucks without you watching." I'd reply from under my desk, heart flipping, bleachers row 5. Tonight? Our code for stolen glances, her form blurring into gold under the floodlights. My cheers lost in the crowd but felt in the way she'd scan the stands, finding me like a beacon. That evening the stadium pulsed with energy, the crackle of speakers blasting hype anthems, the sharp tang of popcorn and hot dogs wafting from concessions. I claimed my spot, notebook balanced on knees, pen tapping a nervous staccato. The gun cracked and there she was, poised, explosive, legs churning the red rubber into blur. She crossed the line first, again chest heaving, fists pumping the air slick with effort. The crowd erupted, a wave of roars crashing over me. But her eyes sought mine immediately, a private victory wink that twisted something deep inside. Post-race I lingered in the tunnel, the concrete cool against my back, echoes of cheers fading to murmurs. She appeared like a ghost, towel around neck, skin sheened, breath coming in measured pulls. "Quote me," she teased, but her voice trembled, the high fading to reveal the hollow beneath. "You're unstoppable," I said, recorder out, but my free hand found hers in the shadows, squeezing. "But off the record, you scare me sometimes. How bright you burn." She stepped closer, the heat of her radiating, mingling with the chlorine from the nearby pool. "Good. Means I'm alive." Her forehead pressed to mine, a moment's anchor in the chaos, her sigh feathering my lips, long laden with the unsaid. Then voices near, teammates, coach, and she pulled back, the mask slipping on seamless. Friday brought the storm. My editor, Lou, a grizzled vet with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and a nose for scandal, cornered me in his glass-walled office. The blinds rattled in the AC gust, papers fluttering like startled birds. "Ellis, this Kane piece? It's gold, but dig deeper. Whispers about her and some girl. Make it juicy." My blood iced, the room spinning slow. "Whispers? From where?" I gripped the doorframe, knuckles whitening, the metallic bite of fear on my tongue. He shrugged, lighting a cigarette despite the no-smoking sign. Smoke curling like accusations. "Sources. You want the byline? Chase it." His eyes narrowed, probing, and I bolted before he could see the crack. I drove to Riley's in a daze, wipers slapping rhythm against the torrent, tires hydroplaning on flooded streets. Her dorm light glowed like a lighthouse, and I pounded up the stairs, key she'd slipped me burning in my pocket. She opened the door in sweats, hair wet from a shower, surprise melting to concern at my face. "Harp? What's?" I pushed inside, slamming the door, words tumbling out in a rush. "They're sniffing. Lou knows something. We can't." But she silenced me with a kiss, fierce and grounding, backing me to the bed until we collapsed in a heap. "Shua," she murmured against my neck, hands soothing circles on my back, the cotton of her shirt soft under my nails. "We're smarter than them." The room wrapped around us, posters of Rio Olympics fluttering in the vent's breath, the faint beep of her alarm clock ticking down our hours. We made love slow that night, rediscovering each other in the lamplight, her fingers tracing the freckles on my shoulders like constellations, my lips mapping the scar on her knee from a high school wipeout. Whispers wove through our gasps. "I love you," she said first, voice breaking on the edge of climax, and I echoed it back, tears salting our skin. After, curled against her, the rain a lullaby on the roof, she confessed. "Coach pulled me aside today. Said focus or forfeit.
Thinks I'm sleeping."
I propped on elbow, heart clenching at the fear shadowing her eyes. "Because of us?" She nodded, thumb brushing my lip. "Yeah, but I'd trade every medal for this." The vulnerability cracked me open, and I kissed her deep, pouring assurance into the press of bodies. Saturday dawned crisp, the storm broken, sun slicing through clouds like forgiveness. We ventured out, brunch at a hole-in-the-wall cafe, her in a ball cap low, me in sunglasses, hands brushing under the table amid clinking forks and the sizzle of bacon. Normalcy fragile as spun sugar. But as we walked back, arms linked casual, a flash caught my eye, campus photic, lens trained our way. Riley stiffened, grip tightening. Run, she half-joked, but the laugh died quick. Or face it, I countered, pulse racing. We didn't run. Instead we posed, deliberate, defiant, her arm around my waist, my head on her shoulder. The click echoed, a gauntlet to the world. By evening the photo hit socials, tags exploding. Cane out Team Riley. Comments flooded, support laced with vitriol, rainbows clashing with slurs. Her phone buzzed nonstop, coach's number flashing like a warning. She silenced it, tossing aside, pulling me close on the couch, the leather creaking under us. This is it, huh? Her voice was steady, but tears tracked silent down her cheeks, warm on my collarbone. I held her tighter, the scent of her fierce sweat sharp. It. Together. The high tide of emotion crested, crashing us into each other again, bodies a bulwark against the fray. The backlash hit like a freight train barreling through the night, derailing everything in its path. By Sunday morning, Riley's inbox overflowed, teammates ghosting, sponsors hedging with polite emails that reeked of legalese, her father's voicemail a gravelly thunder. What the hell is this, Riley? You throw away everything for that. The words echoed in her cramped dorm as we huddled over her laptop, screen glow casting harsh blues on our faces, the cursor blinking like a judgmental eye. I brewed tea from her stash of Lipton bags, the steam rising fragrant and useless against the chill seeping through the thin walls. Handing her the mug, our fingers brushed, lingering, a silent vow amid the chaos. She sipped, wincing at the heat, then set it down with a clink that cut the silence. Dad hung up on me mid-sentence. Said I was an embarrassment. Her voice cracked, raw as the scrape of her throat from unshed sobs, and she buried her face in hands, shoulders shaking. The sight gutted me. This woman who'd faced down hurricanes on the track, reduced to tremors by a few pixels and pixels worth of hate. I knelt before her, prying her hands free, thumbs wiping the damp from her palms. Hey, look at me. Her eyes lifted, red-rimmed, blue depths swirling with storm clouds. You're not embarrassment. You're brave. Braver than any finish line. She laughed, bitter and broken, the sound muffled against my shoulder as she pulled me up into her lap. Brave? I'm terrified, Harp. What if they take it all, the scholarship, the dreams? Her arms banded around me, tight as a lifeline, the cotton of her tea dampening with my own rising tears. We rocked there, the chair creaking softly, the distant hum of the vending machine downstairs a monotonous drone. Afternoon brought Lou's call, my phone vibrating insistent on the nightstand. I ignored it twice, but the third time Riley nodded go. Stepping into the hall, the fluorescent buzz assaulted me, cold air raising gooseflesh on my arms. Ellis, Lou barked when I answered. His exhale a cloud of smoke even through the line. That photo? Front page fodder. You sleeping with her. The direct hit stole my breath, hallway spinning. Lou, it's not. But he cut me, voice like gravel under tires. Save it. Byline's yours if you spill. Exclusive. Temptation flickered, career rocket, name in lights, but it soured quick, bile rising. No, I said firm, the word a release. Print what you want. But it's her story, not mine to sell. He snorted. Your funeral, kid. Click. I sagged against the wall, the cool plaster grounding me, tears hot on cheeks. Back inside, Riley waited, question in her gaze. He wanted the dirt, I admitted, collapsing beside her. I said no. Her smile broke slow, radiant through the pain, and she kissed me, soft, grateful, deepening to something fiercer as hands wandered, seeking solace in skin. We tumbled to the bed, shedding clothes like old skins, her body arching under mine with a gasp that fogged the air. Thank you, she whispered between kisses, fingers threading my hair, pulling just enough to sting sweet. The world outside faded to the rhythm of us, her moans low and throaty, my name a prayer on her lips, the sheets twisting around limbs slick with sweat. After, as dusk painted the room in purples, she traced my spine, voice hushed. Remember that first interview? You asked about my why. I lied, said it's the crowd. A pause, her breath warm on my neck. Truth? It's moments like this. Feeling seen. I turned, nose to nose, inhaling her salt and vanilla home. You're my why now. The admission hung tender and we clung tighter, the bed a raft in the gathering dark. Monday crashed in with headlines screaming from every screen. Track star's secret sprint. Kane comes out in steamy snap. Campus buzzed, whispers trailing me to class like smoke, stares pricking my skin. Riley skipped practice, coach's ultimatum delivered via text. Shape up or ship out. We met in the library stack's third floor, amid dusty tomes on sports history. The hush broken only by page turns and our hushed breaths. She looked wrecked, hair uncombed, eyes shadowed, but when she saw me, light flickered. They want a statement, she said, voice a thread. PR guys freaking. I pulled her into a corral, knees bumping under the scarred desk, hands linking across dog-eared books. What do you want to say? That I love you. Simple, seismic. Her free hand cupped my cheek, thumb stroking the callus a familiar rasp. Emotion swelled, choking me, and I leaned in, foreheads touching, the scent of old paper grounding the vertigo. Together then. We drafted it there raw real. I'm Riley Kane, runner, daughter, lover. This is me, all of me. Her finger hovered over send, trembling, then clicked. Release. The response tsunami ed. Supporters flooding her feed with hearts and fists, detractors spewing venom that we muted together. Her head on my shoulder, my arms steel around her. Feels like jumping without a net, she murmured, but her body relaxed, sighed deep and unburdened. Night fell soft, us in my tiny apartment off campus, takeout boxes scattered on the coffee table, the TV murmuring a rom-com neither watched. Curled on the couch, her feet in my lap, I massaged arches sore from phantom runs, eliciting hums of pleasure. What now? She asked, vulnerability peeking through the calm. Now? We run our race. I kissed her instep, slow, eyes locked. The spark ignited, pulling us to the rug, bodies weaving in firelight from the lamp. Her on top, commanding, gasp syncing with the tick of the wall clock. Climax a shared thunder that left us shattered, reformed. Midweek, the university's response landed like a sucker punch. Suspension pending review. Riley's name smeared across admin memos leaked to the press. We holed up in my apartment, blinds drawn against the paparazzi drones humming like wasps outside. The air stale with unopened mail and the sharp citrus of cleaner I'd scrubbed counters with in futile distraction. Her spike sat by the door, mocking laces frayed from too many dawn miles. She paced the living room, a caged panther, tank top clinging to her frame, sweat beading from the tension coiling her muscles. They can't do this, she snarled, kicking a stray sock across the scuffed hardwood, the soft thwop echoing her frustration. I watched from the kitchenette, coffee mug warm in palms, the bitter steam curling up to sting my eyes, mirroring the burn behind them. Come here, I said, soft, setting the mug down with a clink that cut the silence. She stopped, chest rising, falling fast, then crossed to me in 3 strides, burying her face in my neck. Her breath hitched, hot and uneven, hands fisting my shirt at the small of my back. It feels like everything's slipping, she mumbled, voice muffled, the vibration rumbling through me. I stroked her hair, fingers combing the short strands, inhaling the familiar mix of her shampoo and stress sweat. Not everything. Tilting her chin, I met her gaze, storm-tossed, searching, and kissed her, slow at first, lips brushing tentative, then deepening as she melted, a whimper escaping into my mouth. We backed against the counter, her body pinning mine, hands roaming urgent, under hems over curves, igniting the friction that always grounded us. The kiss broke with a gasp, her forehead to mine, breaths mingling ragged. Make it stop spinning, harp. Plea wrapped in command, and I did. leading her to the bedroom, shedding clothes in a trail of denim and cotton, the door clicking shut like a vow. On the unmade bed we explored unhurried, my mouth tracing the valley of her throat, tasting salt, her fingers arching my back with pulls that drew moans from deep. "There," she breathed, voice husky, guiding my hand lower, the slick heat of her a revelation each time. Our climax built layered, waves cresting in tandem, her cry muffled against my shoulder, body shuddering in release that pulled me under too. After, tangled in sheets damp with us, the world intruded soft. A knock at the door, insistent. Peering through the peephole, my stomach dropped. Campus security badges glinting. "Miss Kane? We need to talk." Riley froze beside me, rope slipping off one shoulder, eyes wide. I squeezed her hand. "I'll handle it." Dressing quick, I faced them in the hall, the fluorescent hall light harsh on their faces. "She's not here," lie slipping easy, but they pushed papers, formal notice, effective immediately. Back inside, I handed it over, her face crumpling as she read, the paper crinkling in her grip. "Suspended. Indefinitely." The word hung heavy and she crumpled to the floor, back to the wall, knees drawn up. I slid down beside, arm around her, the linoleum cold seeping through my jeans. "It's not the end," I whispered, though doubt gnawed. Her head lolled to my shoulder, a sob breaking free, deep wrenching echoing off the walls. I held her through it, rocking gentle, humming a tuneless melody until hiccups subsided, her breathing evening to sighs. Hours later, phone rang, her agent voice slick. "PR nightmare, kid. But spin it right. Heroes return." Riley listened numb, then hung up, tossing the device aside with a clatter. "They want me to apologize. Deny you." Rage flared hot in my chest. "And hell no." She surged up, fire reigniting, pulling me with her. "We're fighting this." The kiss that followed was battle cry. Teeth nipping, hands claiming, tumbling us back to bed in a whirlwind of defiance. Pleasure spiked sharp, her body demanding mine, gasps punctuating vows. Not letting go. Release hit explosive, leaving us breathless, bonded in the afterglow. Friday we rallied, calling lawyers, allies from the LGBTQ club on campus. Their voices a chorus of support over crackly speakerphone. Coffee sloshing in mugs as plans formed. Riley's energy shifted, pacing purposeful now, jotting notes on napkins stained with takeout grease. "Press conference," she declared, eyes alight. "Our terms." I nodded, pride swelling, but fear lingered in the quiet moments, her staring out the window at the overcast sky, jaw tight. That night, as thunder grumbled distant, we lay spooned, my hand over hers on her belly, feeling the rise fall. "Scared," I murmured, lips to her shoulder. "Terrified." Honesty raw, her fingers lacing mine. "But with you, I can run through it." Sleep claimed her, slow breaths deepening, and I watched the storm pass, lightning etching her profile. Fierce, beautiful mine. Saturday brought the conference, gym auditorium packed, flashes popping like gunfire. The podium a wooden fortress under hot lights that made sweat trickle down my back. Riley stood tall, script in hand but eyes on me in the front row, a nod our anchor. "I'm Riley Kane," she began, voice steady, the mic feedback a brief squeal swallowed by hush. "And I'm gay." Proudly. "Harper Ellis isn't a distraction. She's my strength." Gasps rippled, then applause, scattered at first, building to roar. Questions flew. Regrets? Future? She fielded them graceful, hand brushing mine under the table later, electric. Back home, euphoria crashed us together. Door barely shut before clothes flew. Bodies slamming walls in joyous frenzy, her laugh bubbling amid moans, the bed frame banging protest. "We did it," she panted atop me, eyes shining. Climax sealed it, waves of us drowning doubt. The suspension dragged into weeks, a limbo of appeals and hearings that turned our days to ash. Court dates loomed like storm fronts, lawyers in pinstripes droning legalese in sterile conference rooms that smelled of lemon polish and desperation. Riley threw herself into training anyway. Dawn runs on back trails, her form slicing mist-shrouded paths, me trailing with coffee thermos, the crunch of gravel underfoot our only company. She'd collapse on the grass after, chest heaving, gulping air laced with pine and earth, pulling me down for kisses that tasted of exertion and resolve. "You're my pace-setter," she'd say, grass blade sticking to her cheek, hand splayed on my thigh, thumb circling lazy. I'd laugh, low, the sound rumbling between us as bodies shifted, morning light gilding skin, leading to slow, outdoor tangles, her fingers deft, drawing sighs from me that mingled with birdsong, release a quiet thunder under the canopy. But nights were harder. Insomnia clawed her, tossing in my bed, sheets twisting like restraints. I'd wake to her pacing silhouette, moonlight carving shadows on walls adorned with my haphazard bookshelves. "Can't sleep," she'd mutter, voice thick, rubbing arms goose-pimpled in the chill. I'd tug her back, spooning tight, lips to nape. "Tell me." Fragments spilled, childhood tracks in Texas dust, father's proud claps fading to disapproval, the weight of being the family's golden ticket. "Always running towards something," she whispered, hand finding mine over her hips, squeezing. "Now? Feels like away." Tears wet the pillow, silent, and I'd kiss them away, turning her gentle bodies aligning in comfort more than fire. Slow rocks, whispers weaving solace, her breaths evening to peace under my touch. A breakthrough came mid-month. Ally professor, tenured and fierce, leaked emails proving bias in the review board. Homophobic jabs hidden in concerns. The press devoured it, headlines shifting. Kane's fight. University under fire. Supporters surged, petitions circling thousands, campus rallies chanting her name under drizzly skies, megaphones crackling with rain. We joined one, Riley at the mic, voice amplified but cracking with raw. "This isn't just my track, it's ours." The crowd roared, bodies pressing close, her hand in mine lost in the crush but felt deep. Backlash lingered. Hate mails scrawled on notes slipped under doors, the acrid stink of fear, but buoyed us, turning defense to offense. Intimacy deepened in the fray. One rally eve, adrenaline humming, we slipped to the green room, door locked with a click that echoed promise. "Need you," she growled, backing me to the vanity, mirrors fogging with our heat, her mouth devouring, teeth on collarbone, hands hiking skirt, fingers plunging sure. I cried out, muffled by her shoulder. The slap of skin on would a counterpoint to distant chants. She followed, grinding against my thigh, release shuddering through her with a keen that vibrated the glass. Post-rally victory tasted sweet. Ice cream cones on a park bench, drips melting on fingers we licked clean, laughs bubbling free. "Feels normal," she said, head on my shoulder, the park's oak leaves rustling overhead, carrying scents of mulch and distant barbecue. Our normal. But her eyes shadowed, phone buzzing, ignored. "Coach again. Wants me back. Apologize publicly." I stiffened, spoon clattering to pavement. "And sell us out?" She sighed long, the sound carrying weight of crossroads. "No. But the dream." Vulnerability peaked, and I cupped her face, thumbs framing jaw. Dreams evolve. Kiss sealed it, soft under twilight, deepening as we walked home, arm in linked, street lamps flickering on. Hearing day dawned gray, courthouse steps slick with overnight rain, flashes blinding as we ascended hand in hand. Inside, oak-paneled halls smelled of wax and worry, our footsteps muffled on runners. The judge, stern but fair, eyed us over glasses as testimony unfolded. Professor's evidence, Riley's measured words. "Running's my life. But so is love." Her voice held, but under the table her knee bounced, my hand stilling it. "Squeeze our lifeline." Recess brought chaos, reporters swarming the hall, mics thrust like spears, questions battering. We ducked into a side room, empty and echoing, the door thudding shut. "Too much," she breathed, sliding down the wall, knees to chest. I joined, pulling her into lap, rocking as sobs broke, deep, cathartic, wetting my shirt. "Almost there," I murmured, fingers combing hair, inhaling her stress and resolve. The breakdown shifted, her lips seeking mine, desperate, hands fumbling buttons in the dim. We made love there against cold wall, urgent and quiet, hushed gasps, bodies muffling cries. Climax, a stolen gasp that steadied us both. Verdict dropped post-lunch. Suspension lifted with caveats, counseling sensitivity training. Relief crashed, her whoop echoing halls, hug crushing as tears mixed joyful. Outside, rain held off, sun breaking through, and we kissed unashamed, cameras be damned. Celebration that night. Friends gathering, dim bar with sticky floors and jukebox crooning blues, shots clinking to toasts. Riley glowed, stories flying, but pulled me to the alley mid-set. Cool briquette back, her body flush. You saved me, she whispered. Hands pinning wrists above head, mouth claiming in fire. Tongue dueling, thigh pressing insistent, drawing moans that fogged the air. Release quick and fierce, her fingers curling inside. Name a chant on lips. Home late, sated, we collapsed laughing, bodies entwining, lazy, sleep claiming easy for once. Reinstated but scarred, Riley's return to the track was a spectacle. Stands packed tighter than championships, banners waving rainbows amid school colors, the air electric with cheers and undercurrents of scrutiny. She towed the line, spikes digging rubber, muscles coiling like springs under the spandex singlet that hugged every curve I'd worshipped in private. I sat front row, heart in throat, the starter's pistol a thunderclap that launched her forward. Blazing, untouchable, crossing tape with a time that shattered personal bests. The embrace post-race was public. Arms around neck, her sweat-slick body pressing mine, lips brushing ear. For you. Whispers from stands faded to applause, but doubt lingered in her eyes later. Locker room steam cloaking us as she stripped for shower. Felt their stares. Like I'm on trial every stride. I followed her under spray, water cascading hot, mingling with rivulets down her back as hands soaked gentle, shoulders, spine lower, eliciting shivers unrelated to chill. You're free, I said, voice echoing off tiles, fingers circling hips. She turned, water sheeting between breasts, pulling me close, kiss deepening under the pore. Salty, urgent, her leg hooking mine, grinding slow until gasps drowned the rush. Climax blooming shared, bodies slick sliding to floor in aftershocks. Off-track life wove tighter. Mornings in my kitchen, her flipping pancakes with exaggerated flips, batter spattering stove, laughter filling the space with buttery warmth. Evenings tangled on couch watching old races, her commentary laced with self-deprecation. Look at that form, rookie mistake. I'd counter with kisses trailing down throat, hands exploring under blankets, turning critique to moans, the remote clattering forgotten as pleasure overtook. But fractures showed. A sponsor pulled out, citing brand misalignment. The email's cold font burning on her screen. She hurled her phone, screen cracking on floor with a sharp crack, then sank to knees, sobs racking. Was it worth it? Voice small, broken. I knelt, gathering her close, the carpet rough under shins. Every second. Rocking, I kissed temple, inhaling her tears and tension, until calm crept, her hands clutching my back. Bed called then, slow undressing by lamplight. Bodies mapping hurts with tenderness. My mouth on scars, her fingers coaxing sighs, union gentle, healing whispers of love threading through breaths till sleep sealed wounds. Texas trip loomed, a gauntlet. Her parents' ranch, sprawling under endless sky. Barbecue smoke signals of reconciliation or rejection. Flight south was tense, her hand vice in mine during turbulence, knuckles white. What if they hate me still? Then we leave. Simple steel. Airport pickup. Her dad weathered in Stetson, truck rumbling, silence thick as humidity. Drive wound through scrubland, radio country twang filling voids. Her thigh pressed to mine in cab's bench seat. Home was memory made flesh. Wraparound porch creaking under boots, screen door banging. Mom's hug tentative but warm. Apple pie scent wafting from kitchen. Dinner stretched awkward, fork scraping plates, dad's eyes on Riley hard. Proud of your runnin'. He grunted finally, voice gruff. But this. Other stuff. Riley's fork stilled, breath held. It's me, Dad. All of it. Pause, air thick, Mom's hand fluttering napkin. Then slow. Brought someone special. She took my hand, visible, squeezed trembling. Silence stretched, broken by Dad's chair scrape. Boots thudding as he stood. Heart stopped, but he rounded table, clapping her shoulder awkward. Long as you're happy, kid. Rough but real. Mom's tears followed, hugs enveloping, whispers of welcome. Relief cracked us open that night. Guest room with quilted bed, moonlight slanting through lace curtains. Door locked soft, we collided, clothes shedding hasty, her body urgent against mine, mouth devouring with starved hunger. They saw us, she gasped, fingers plunging deep, drawing cries muffled in pillow, rhythm frantic, release exploding in tandem, bodies quaking under quilts. Morning brought ease, ranch chores, her showing me stalls, horse breath warm on cheeks, hay scratching legs as we stole kisses in shadows. Dad even tossed a softball, gruff laughs amid misses, the dust kicking up golden in sun. Return flight north, her head on my shoulder, sigh content. Family, huh? Voice soft, hand laced in mine. Ours now. Kiss to temple, plain humming lull. Back home normalcy bloomed, joint lease signed, boxes merging lives in my apartment turned ours, books beside spikes, coffee mugs monogrammed. First night in our bed, candles flickering vanilla, we celebrated slow wine sips between kisses, bodies exploring anew, her on back, me above, gazes locked through waves building tender, climax a symphony of names and shudders, afterglow whispering futures. Championship season peaked. The air in the stadium thick with anticipation and the sharp bite of fresh chalk on the track. Riley qualified flawless, each heat a testament. Legs pumping relentless, form poetry under arc lights that turn sweat to diamonds. I cheered throat raw from stands, notebook abandoned, heart swelling with every stride. Post-qualifier tunnel embrace was fierce, her body crashing mine, lips claiming quick but deep, the echo of spikes fading to our pulses sinking. But pressure mounted, whispers of doubt from teammates, coaches' sidelong glances heavy. Home she'd unwind in baths, bubbles foaming, me washing her hair, fingers massaging scalp till sighs melted tension, water sloshing gentle. Feels like finals are the real hurdle, she'd murmur, eyes closed, head lolling back. One eve, post-soaked, towel-dried, she pulled me to rug, fire crackling in the small hearth we'd installed, flames dancing shadows on walls. Dance with me. Caprice, no music but crackle and our breaths. Swaying slow, bodies flush, hands roaming, her palm cupping breast, thumb circling nipple to peak, drawing gasp. Floor cool under bare feet, we lowered graceful, her mouth trailing fire down torso, tongue dipping navel, lower still, pleasure coiling tight as she worked. Slow licks, fingers joining, my hands fisting rug fibers, climax cresting an arch and cry that echoed hearth. Finals day dawned clear, rare Seattle sun gilding the bleachers gold. Crowd a sea of color and roar. Riley at blocks, glance finding me, nod fierce love in eyes. Gun cracked, world blurred to her motion, grace, power, crossing line first, tape snapping, roar deafening. Gold again but more redemption, roar for her truth. Podium ceremony, metal heavy round neck, anthem swelling, her eyes sought mine amid flashes, wink private. Press scrum post, questions probing. How's love factor in? She grinned, arms slinging my waist visible. It's the win. Celebration blurred, team party, beers foaming, dances wild, her pulling me to corners for kisses stolen. Hands wandering under tables, heat building till we fled, cab ride urgent, driver oblivious. Home door slamming frenzy, walls rattling with thrusts, her back to door. Legs wrapped waist, gasps punctuating love yous, release shattering, sliding to floor in heap, laughs mingling tears. Months wove forward, graduation for me, her Olympics nod, dreams aligning. New apartment, bigger, view of sound glittering, mornings waking to her stretch beside. Kisses lazy leading to matins of touch. Fingers lazy, mouths exploring, sun warming skin through sheets. One anniversary eve, year since whisper she planned surprise. Rooftop picnic, city lights twinkling below, wine decanting ruby, cheeses sharp on tongue. Harper Ellis, she said, kneeling sudden, box small in palm, ring glinting simple gold. Run this race with me? Forever. Tears blurred, heart full. Yes. Kiss sealed, deepening on blanket, bodies joining under stars, slow, sacred. Her inside me deliberate. Gazes locked through builds. Climax of vow shared, waves eternal. Years later, her Olympic gold beside mine, byline on best-selling memoir. Whispers on the track, family grown. Her dad's barbecue's inclusive, mom's hugs tight. We run still, hands linked, no finish line, just the endless, meaningful stride of us.